Good evening and welcome to the February 18th meeting of the Glenville Town Board. Please rise for the invocation and pledge allegiance. Let's join me in prayer. Dear Lord, as we follow you into the unknown, may we recognize the tempter when he comes. Let it be your bread we eat and your work we serve, and you alone we worship. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Let the record show Councilman Martin and Councilman Ramatar are absent. Councilman Pitlevani?
Here.
Councilwoman Rosbowski?
Here.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Here. So we have a skeleton staff. We'll start immediately with item 4, Town Council reports on my left with Councilwoman Rosbowski.
The only thing I would offer, Mr. Supervisor, is for the residents that have fire hydrants near their home, please clear them out. I know that we are in the process of going around and trying to clear them out, but it is a huge help to make sure they're clear, so if they can be accessed, they can do. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Pitlevani.
No report.
We'll move right into privilege of the floor. We have no one signed up. If Mr. Looker would like to be heard, please come to the podium.
My name is Pete Looker. I live at 1965 Amsterdam Road, Route 5. And I just wanted to bring to your attention, I realize there's no GECC meeting going to calendar this month, or I believe the Wellhead Committee is no longer working. But the bomb trains that exploded down in West Virginia there 2 days ago, they've been parking them across the street from our house, 10, 20, 50 of them at a time for quite a few days on end, on a pretty regular basis now. I know a few years ago there was a problem with I don't know, I forget whether it was vegetable oil or some sort of food that, tipped over and spilled, and they had to be pushed to even bother cleaning it up. If those tanks go, I won't be coming to these meetings anymore. It'll vaporize our house and a lot of stuff in that area. And if they leak into the aquifer, that's kind of it for our water for the next 1,000 generations. So it's not a good idea. I don't know what kind of rules are being pushed on that. I know in Albany they're trying to get summary abatement where the state actually has the power, if they can declare it unsafe, which they have been by the federal government, to stop them from coming into Albany. So anyway, it's a little bit of a concern. The other issue, just an update on Old Domination Trucking. They continue to light up our bedrooms at night. They continue to violate the town laws, specifically 270-65 glare shall be confined to the property, 270-73 any lighting associated with parking will be directed on the parking lot and away from adjacent properties and public right of way, 270-74 lighting used to illuminate off-street loading areas shall be configured in a manner so as to not reflect upon adjoining properties. Light sources shall be shielded and projected downward. They're still not shielded, they're still not projected downward. When they light up my tree 60 feet up in the air, I look out the window and there's severe glare coming into obviously they don't know how to put a shade on those lights. And I would appreciate it if the town would enforce that. If they want to violate laws that don't interfere with anybody else's life, I have no big problem with that. When they're violating the law and impacting the neighborhood there, I would appreciate it if that was enforced. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Looker, just quickly on the trains, GEC should have met this month. I saw their agenda. They did have an agenda, so if they didn't meet yet, they might be meeting next week, and I can see why that's not on the website, if that's what you checked and didn't see a meeting.
Yeah, I looked at the calendar, there was nothing there.
You're right, the Wellfield Protection Committee was disbanded after they did their work, but we rolled the responsibility for those carrying out those suggestions into the GECC. And I was supposed to be before it went off.
Yeah, didn't we?
No, my 5 minutes must have been up.
Yeah.
No, way over on the left, on the, yeah.
Yeah, that's- just hold it for a little
Hold it in
bit.
for a little bit and it'll change.
So we
time.
will, so they do work on the wellfield protection stuff, but I will make sure that this item gets on their agenda. And I'll have, if you want to give Kevin a call or Mike Burns. And Mike Burns is 688-1219. This is his direct line. Mike Burns is the staff liaison to the GECC. And he can, and you can make sure you get that on their agenda.
What's the number again?
688-1219. And that's a worthwhile, I think, agenda item for them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I'll make sure he gets this too as well. Anyone else wish to be heard? Going once, going twice? Okay, so we'll move to supervisors' comments to the board. Just some quick updates the past couple of weeks. I've had the opportunity to meet with a few technology vendors. As we talked about, this is a big year for technology for us. You saw the article, of course, in the, there's only 3 of us, John. One of us has to have a cell phone go off. You saw the article, obviously we talked about it at the last work session. The GPS, and we'll be taking that up tonight, is the first step in the technology that we're trying to implement. There's a lot of different initiatives we're looking at right now. The next one that we're looking at, talking to these vendors, is 2 things. One is a resident tracking form online so that somebody can report a code violation, a street light that's out, a pothole, any number of items that they would call to inform us of an issue. And that work order gets created online in real time and then tracked in real time so that residents can see that get addressed and what stage it's in progress, closed, completed, whatever. So it's an online resident tool, but it also helps with transparency as to what happens, because very often someone will call and staff will address it, but maybe doesn't always close the loop on it. So that's one item in particular. And the second, I think, is we as the board have been struggling with is reporting from department heads. We do get reports from our department heads, but one of the challenges we've seen is that they're static Word documents, right? So when you get these Word documents every month, you can see exactly what's going on, but it's very hard to discern a trend. There's no way of taking that data and graphing or plotting as to where we are with productivity in certain departments, unless you go back and take out each one of those Word documents and try to build it yourself. So one of the things we're looking at is standardize the reporting per departments, so everyone's reporting pretty much the same information, and then do it in a way that is captured in a database that we're able to track and then help us discern the trends of what's going on month to month. And I think that's very valuable because, again, it provides more data. Data drives decisions. The more data we have, the better decisions we can make. So those are some of the things that we've been working on and we'll be bringing hopefully to the board soon. It's not an easy fix. We might have to custom build some of the software. We're looking at we're doing a webinar next week with a national vendor to look at their products, but we'll be talking more about that as we go on, hopefully next month. We met with the Business and Technology Park owners a couple weeks ago now. I know we haven't met in a couple weeks. We had a good discussion on the tech park and where we're going in the future with that and ways of improving it. Obviously, it's growing, it's a gem, it's becoming more valuable to people. And so we have to look at our infrastructure needs in there and start to build those and find ways to maybe beautify the entryways or help with signage in the park so people know where to go to what business. But we had a whole bunch of ideas to come out of that, and there might be a CFA opportunity out of that, which, by the way, we're meeting tomorrow with the SBED to talk about the CFA opportunities because we're getting down to the wire. We really should have a project identified very shortly and start working on that project for June. And this might be one of them, but it was a really good meeting. Last Monday of the month, I started the individual departmental meetings with department heads we talked about. And this was an opportunity for me to drill down a little deeper into each department operationally and get a little better understanding of what's going on. This Monday is the second of those, so it will continue last Monday every month. And this week I'm focusing on reporting standards and technology implementation in the department. So that has been going well, but I did want to report on that. I also had an opportunity to meet with the school districts, the two of the major school districts of our 5, Scotia, Glenville, and Burn Hills. As you know, I make a regular meeting with them to talk about shared services and consolidation with the school districts. We still have ideas. I know, we report these ideas. They're not really fully ready for vetting just yet, but there's some good things I think that will be coming forward shortly on that, working with our school districts. We have, and I'll talk about this in a little while, we have until June 1st to file our shared services plan with the state. And when we get to that, I'll talk about that, but I'm hoping we have a project with the school districts that we could file by June 1st. Our assessor, as you guys know, Bill Pertel, held an assessment presentation at the senior center, making sure that people understood all the things they have available to them as far as tax abatements or what do you call the STAR program, STAR, all that stuff. It was well attended. I think he had 55 people there or so. And I think some people came out of it with an understanding that they may have more available to them than they knew. So it was a really nice service that the assessor's office put on. And I think the seniors and all those in attendance, not all were seniors, but most were appreciative of the exemptions. That was the word I was looking for, exemptions. I don't get any, so I don't know that word. I also had a chance to sit down recently with Mr. Bucco and discuss our concerns regarding the casino project and the traffic study and the impact money. And I will say he was very cordial and very interested in hearing our concerns. So I can report that the dialogue has been started. I cannot report that we've made a lot of progress immediately, but the good news is the dialogue has started, and we will continue to have that dialogue with him, with our state legislators, with Metroplex, with the county, and with the gaming folks from Rush Gaming. So it's always good when people talk to each other, so that's good, and I think that will continue. I had the opportunity to present yet again the award to the Glenville School for winning the Take Me to Vote contest every November. They do this among the schools in the Scotia Glenville district. Glenville, I think, has won the last 12 years. They won again. Yeah, every year. So I presented them with their plaque and had a nice talk about civic responsibility and voting. And then to get to the June 1st shared services plan we have to file with the state. Last night the county convened that consolidation, that shared services meeting that brought together the towns and the villages and the city and the county, and we talked about how do we go forward together and what do we all want to do individually as municipalities. Essentially, you all know the tax cap was put into place in 2012. You had to stay under the tax cap for really no particular reason other than to stay under the tax cap. We now know that what they call the tax freeze is a new twist on the tax cap, That takes effect this year for towns. So if we stay under the tax cap in 2015, our residents will get the money back in 2016, just like what we did in 2014, they're going to get their money back in 2015. In order to get their money back in 2016, there's a new twist. We have to also stay, number one, stay under the tax cap, but two, we have to file a plan by June 1st showing the state how we will save 10% of our levy. So we have to not just stay under the cap, we have to shave 10% of our levy off the budget. So for us, that's $100,000, well, more than that.
Why don't we suggest that we get some relief on the unfunded mandates?
Well, and that, I brought that up in the meeting last night too. One of the biggest issues I have, and not to get too deep into it right now, is health insurance. It's bizarre to me that the state of New York still requires the town of Glenville to buy their health insurance community rated because we're too small to go experience rated. The town of Rotterdam, same thing. The town of Niskayuna, same thing. Instead of allowing us to come together into one big pool with the county and get the buying power to lower our premiums. Now that requires state legislation to change that. Why the governor continues to do all this and not make those fixes that can save not just towns' money and taxpayers' money, but our employees' money if we can lower premiums by simply joining together and buying in bulk. It's a simple concept. It's a basic concept of economics, but we're not allowed to do that. The insurance companies rate each of us individually because our numbers are too low to be experience rated, so we have to take the community rate, which means we have to every year take our increases and like it, 10% a year, and it just has to be that way. So there's an issue that we can take to the state legislature, but that's not going to help us right now. We have to file our shared services and efficiency plan by June 1st. The good news for the town of Glenville is we're already there. We've already done everything we need to do to be efficient and to share services. I'm confident that we have our 10% levy cut in efficiencies. The challenge will come is that in 2016 for 2017, we'll have to do it again, find more. You know, there's only so much you can whittle down before you don't have any wood left. But we're there. So that was a good meeting. We'll have to talk more about that in the coming days. And on shared services, we had a really good step forward with the Village of Scotia today. I was able to meet with two of the trustees, Trustee Lockwood and Trustee Mathis, about the idea of coming together and guess what? Sharing the town village hall. It feels as though the trustees have finally come to the table and said this makes sense. They're open to it. We had a very good conversation today about it. We're going to move forward with ideas on that, and I'll be looking forward to meeting with them, and I'll ask one of you to join me. And I say one of you, I mean the board. And if anyone's interested in particular in that issue, let me know. But we're gonna move forward on that, and hopefully we'll find some really good shared services with the village. It's a huge step forward. One more thing I just want to address before I'm done, and it's, I think, a misunderstanding that came out of that GPS article. I had a call from a few people who were upset with me because they say that I misrepresented how many highway employees we've had over the years, because the way the article started, it sounded as though 3 people have been cut over 3 years. And that's not true. And I said it wasn't true when a gentleman came here to say that, who says that our highway folks are saying that. And I'll tell any highway person, it is not true. And so it just warrants right now to go over the numbers so people understand where we were with numbers and where we are now. In 2007, I was not a member of this board. The authorizing resolution we do as an organizational meeting every January authorized 26 hires into the highway department. That was 2007. In 2008, there was 26. In 2009, there was a cut, I'm sorry, not a cut. there was an authorization resolution to 23 from 26. In 2009, neither of you two were here. I was on the board as a board member. What was missing on the org chart, or was vacant, I should say, it wasn't a cut, it was vacant, 1 light motor and 2 laborers on the org chart. In 2010, when I became supervisor, and I think you were on the board, and you were on the board too, John?
No, John.
No, John wasn't
John
there.
right next to me.
2010, again, 23 was preserved. In 2011, 23 was preserved. In 2012, we went to 22 because the deputy retired and it was requested not to be replaced by the department head, and it was not. In 2013, it went to 22, or it stayed at 22. In 2014, it stayed at 22. And in 2015 budget, we just restored that department position, and it's back to 23. It is where it has always been since I've been supervisor. That is a true and factual statement. There has been no cuts by this board. There has been times, if you go through the organizational chart, that there has been vacancies not filled. But this board has always authorized the same amount of people that we inherited. We cannot go back to 2007 and say 26 is the number. That's not on our watch. That was cut in 09. I'm sorry, it wasn't cut. It was brought down because vacancies were created in those 2 positions. So there are times through those years that we had as many as 23 and 25, 24. One year we got down to 22 because 2 vacancies weren't filled, but then they were filled. There are no cuts. There are no cuts. That is not a correct statement. I just wanted to set the record straight on that. I hope we don't continue to hear the opposite, because that would be a lie and that would be wrong. There have been no cuts to highway department. Any questions on that? Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So we'll get back to the agenda, item number 7, which is a resolution authorizing the Commercial and Public Works to enter into an agreement for bulk pickup. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, this resolution is in connection with our annual bulk item program for the year 2015. We put out a request for proposals. We received 1 bid from County Waste and Recycling, which included 2 options. Option A, in the sum of $39,000 for a 1-week program, or option B, in the sum of $27,000 for a 2-week program. This resolution would be to authorize the Commissioner of Public Works to enter into an agreement not to exceed $27,000 for the 2-week program as proposed in option B, to be rendered by County Waste and Recycling Service of Clifton Park for the program, annual bulk item program for this year. This is a budgeted item and it is funded in the recycling line.
Thank you. The only thing I would ask one of our Commissioner of Public Works and one of our residents to make this a little bit better program than it was last year was that if we're going to split it into 2 weeks, I'm fine with that to save some money, but I'd like to split the town then, so that 1 week it's clear where they're going to be, and then 1 week they're in the other, instead of having everyone put everything out and then wait 2 weeks for someone to get to them. Unfortunately, last year it took a little bit longer than 2 weeks. And on a resident side, I would ask that we not place stuff out early. There's a specific date of when your items can go to the curb. Sadly, in many cases, it's at least a week or 2. Some residents are putting things out before it should be out. So the perception by some residents is this program goes on for 5 weeks, and that's not the case. It goes out too early, and I think unfortunately it goes out in areas where it doesn't need to be. So if we can manage it better so that, I don't care how they split the town up, but they can make sure that one side gets done first and then the next side in the next week. And so I'm hoping that they can do that. But at least
That
we
would
can
be
have
a
an answer.
question for our superintendent, how he uncertain what their parameters are.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Pittavani?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 8, appointing Carla Klein to DCO. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, due to a resignation, there currently exists a vacancy for dog control part-time position, which is budgeted for an average work schedule up to 15 hours per week. Since November 12th of 2014, Carla Klein has been employed by the town of Glenville as a secondary dog control officer part-time, which is budgeted for 10 hours a week. Ms. Klein has proven to be an effective employee and has carried out the responsibilities of the position in an effective and productive manner. And the Chief of Police, Michael Rinaldi, recommends utilizing Ms. Klein in the dog control officer part-time position, which is budgeted for up to 15 hours per week. Therefore, we're looking to appoint her to the position of dog control part-time for 15 hours a week with a starting salary of $17 per hour and benefits, if any, determined by the CSEA contract with the town.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Pittavani?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, resolution 9, appointing Darla Kulata to position of DCO part-time. Do I have a motion?
So
Do
moved.
I have a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
As I just stated, there's a resignation that exists with a part-time position in the dog control officer, part-time. Being we just promoted the 10-hour one to a 15-hour one, there exists a vacancy in the 10-hour position, and this would provide that Darla Kulata of Campbell Avenue, Schenectady, be appointed to the position of dog control officer part-time, effective January 30th, 2015, at the same starting rate of $17 per hour.
Thank you. I just want to pause and talk about, just quickly on these two resolutions. This is part of the efficiency that is required for us to show the state of New York. What we took was a position that was full-time with benefits, and we're able to run this position at a more cost-effective way for our residents. And this is what we would submit to this is an example of what we would submit to the state of New York showing efficiency, because we do save money in that position. We also gain flexibility where we have 2 people now who can cover at flexible times over the weekends and in the evenings, where they have, instead of working just an 8 to 4 or an 8 to 5, they're able to work at different times and support each other. So it's a good model. It's been a good model for the town, and I think it's a good model for the residents. And I just wanted to pause when we saw an example of efficiency and point that out. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Pittavani?
Yes.
Councilman Ramatar?
He's not here.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, resolution 10, authorizing the supervisor to sign an agreement with the cell tower consultant. Do I have a motion?
So.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I think I have a second there. Just for point of discussion, this is a resolution. Not everything is perfectly scripted. That's okay. This is a resolution that was brought to us by our town attorney. Our leases on our cell towers will expire within the next couple of 5 to 7 years or so. And current lessees have expressed interest in extending their lease. And the town has insufficient data to analyze the market value of those cell towers in order to negotiate the best possible leases with these lease companies. There are a few national firms specialized in providing data, technical assistance, and negotiation strategies to municipalities with respect to cell towers and cell leases. So the town board would authorize me as the supervisor to enter an agreement with the cell tower lease consulting firm under professional service agreement at a cost not to exceed $5,000. We are very confident that we will more than exceed that savings in having better data to negotiate with these cell providers. It's an understatement to say that years ago the town made bad deals, and therefore money has been left on the table in revenue. unfortunately was not realized. And we hope that this consultant will be able to help us realize more revenue out of these deals.
I would say, actually, I don't think that the town made a bad deal per se. It was so many years ago, the technology was evolving. I think, to be fair, it should be looked at from the perspective of, I don't think anyone fully comprehended how this technology was going to expand to be such an integral part of our lives and the way we communicate with each other. So I wouldn't say they made bad deals in that they made decisions that were inappropriate. I think they made probably the best decision they thought they could make based upon the information that they had at the time. And going forward, that's why we're looking to engage this firm and go forward to try to make sure that we take a longer view than just what's going on right now. That's what I would offer.
Yeah, and I think that point is the point I made, is that having that data gives us the opportunity to make a better deal.
Exactly,
Right.
and knowing now how this technology can change so quickly going forward, setting the precedent for periodically reviewing these things and not just taking at blind faith what someone says the assets the town has are worth. So, I think I think this is money well spent, and I think going forward it'll help us stay on top of and maximize revenues that may have any potential for the town.
Yeah, I'm not saying they made a bad deal because they purposely detoured.
No,
I'm just saying
I know that.
they
I just,
had
I just.
they didn't have the data to make a good deal.
Right,
This corrects that problem.
Exactly.
It gives us the data.
exactly, and I
Hopefully
think,
make a better deal.
I think that's what I said too, but I know you didn't mean shame on them. It was more of just a,
Right.
a perspective, that's all.
Anything else? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Pilavani?
Yes.
Councilwoman Worzbowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 11, authorizing the supervisor to sign a contract with Verizon for GPS on all town vehicles. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Again, just as we talked about at the work session last week, we maintain about 50 vehicles, and which are not, of course, include but not limited to the police and public works vehicles. We seek, as a town board, to improve the efficiency of the town government operations by the most cost-effective means available. And as such, we've been discussing with Verizon Communications regarding installing the GPS technology on town vehicles, known as the Network Fleet product, which will provide town officials with more precise information on location, routing, speed, fuel usage, idling time, engine diagnostics of all the equipped town vehicles. And whereas the data is expected to result in improvement of use of town vehicle fleet, including reduced fuel consumption, more accurate routing, and more optimal use of the town staff resources. And whereas these improvements will provide savings to the town taxpayers and more precise information to town residents during snow removal, leaf pickup, and similar operations, the Verizon Network product is available to the town under a federal GSA contract pricing rate, which is the most affordable rate, or the cheapest rate, of $18.95 per month, plus a one-time charge of $115 per vehicle. So this GPS unit would then provide us, as I said or it's written in the resolution, with an extraordinarily amount of data. As I said earlier, data drives decisions. The better data you have, the better decisions you can make, and I think this provides us with a tremendous amount of data in helping us with our decision making. It works to our transparency by giving our residents the ability to go online and see certain things. It goes to our efficiency. This would be an example, again, of what we would submit in our plan for efficiency savings, if we can show efficiency from there, which I think we will. And I think it's a good use of technology. Any other questions or comments?
I'd just like to point out, when I was the police chief in the village of Scotia, we had the GPS put on the police vehicles, and the amount of data that you're able to extract from this is phenomenal. And I strongly suggest that we do this. It's the money saving, as you suggested, but it also helps in any type of complaints that you may receive. You can look at the data and verify that or not very quickly.
Any other questions or comments?
Nope.
We're about to lose our lights, but Mike's going to make sure we're okay. Thank you, Mike. Seeing no other questions or comments, please record the vote.
Councilman Pittavani?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 12, approving the monthly department reports for January 2015.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Moved in second. Any questions, comments, changes? Nothing. Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Pittavani?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. We're going to table resolution 13, which is a resolution approving the town board minutes for February 4th, because we don't have enough members here who were at the February 4th meeting. Councilwoman Wozzachowski was absent, so John and I will be the only two. So we'll hold that till the next meeting. And then that's item 14, new business. I'll start on my left with Councilwoman Wozzachowski.
Yes, I would just like to make mention of our DPW workers who have had to deal with much weather over the last couple of weeks. I think they've done a great job. I think that, you don't fully appreciate the time that is spent away from families and homes during the snow events that we've had. And I would just like to say thank you very much to them for their hard work and for their consistent efforts in keeping our town roads safe.
I concur 100%. Councilman Pittavani.
On the police department side, I noticed that our January accident reports that were reportable were like 114, where all of last year we only had 420 some, and that was January. I'm going to guess that February is right up there also. And the same thing, that they're on the road through this weather day and night. So I appreciate the work that the police department does here in town.
I agree 100% with you too. You all said everything. I don't have anything more to say. Other than my Facebook, congratulations and kudos to the highway department. And they said, if you guys agree, anyone agree like this, about what a great job they're doing. I got tons of likes.
Oh, good.
Yes, not from Mike, but from everyone else I did. So.
Mikey doesn't go on Facebook.
Oh, he does. Anything else? Seeing nothing, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moving second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.